I'm gonna leave.
No,
Oh shit!
don't
we're
do
live.
that.
Right.
Hey, it's your show. I don't care if you leave.
Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We're apparently streaming live, so that's cool. Well, we're gonna roll with that. It's our 200th episode. It's crazy. We've been here for this long. Spite can keep you going for a long time. So we assembled a good portion of the crew here, and we're just gonna hang out and fuck around for a little while. Everybody taps out and goes home and does other stuff. Well, everybody's home already, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for showing up. We've got Leah, we've got Leslie, we've got John, we've got Kevin, we've got Oscar, we have Kurt, and Jesse is dealing with a Thunderdome situation at home. And Neil is running late, and that is no surprise to anyone. So we'll see if he shows up or not. So thank you everybody for coming and hanging out.
No you did problem. It 200.
You did it. Cool.
Congratulations.
Milestones.
Well, and the man who will not die has been with us from the very beginning.
Nice.
I don't get out much.
When did it all start, John? Tell me a story.
So I started to set things up in February of 2015, picking out a name, getting a Twitter set up and all that kind of stuff. And then we did our first interview. I guess I should have marked that date down. It was like April of 2015. And then we did so that was the soft launch. And then we went, hard launch at Necronomicon in 2015, where I wound up in Oscar's room party for Golden Goblin Press.
What an epic room party.
Epic room party. And
I will just say, I was really drunk and I made a comment. The only thing that could make this party more epic if security came and broke it up.
And then
then 10 minutes later, security came and broke up the party. So
4 guys too. They were like, you all have to leave now. Like, you can't do this anymore.
Nice.
And
on the way got this under control. You got under control. 4 security guards. You got it.
Yeah, because Cthulhu nerds really look dangerous.
I mean, yeah, that is true.
Well, and I don't know that I said anything to you the whole night because I was kind of hanging out with Chad and I was standing there with Clancy. And then on the way out, I was like, hey, so like my name is John and like we're doing this thing. You're like, here, take this book. You're emailing me like a week and we'll work something out. I was like, okay.
It was a great party. It was also Jeff Muller's 50th birthday party. And we had
Godzilla cake.
We had a Godzilla in a quinceañera dress, like the cake. It was a big plastic Godzilla with a cake dress.
Oh, that's
absolutely. And I don't blame you for not talking to me because you had Glancy drunk just holding court, and it was like epic.
Chad was feeding people cheese out of his hands.
The Northern Europeans brought a whole bunch of really weird, very nasty alcohol that we were all trying. I still think I have some in my liquor cabinet. But it was just an epic night.
Slightly poisonous.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the fermented shark meat, thank God. But
yeah. So you started us off with our first actual play, the was a Star Frontiers campaign, which was
shit, really?
Like one of the top most watched videos on the YouTube still.
There's only one thing more dedicated than a Call of Cthulhu nerd. It's a Star Frontiers nerd. I write for a Star Frontiers fanzine about every month, for shits and giggles. It pays nothing, but the community is out there and it's still so strong, which is amazing for an incredibly broken game that only had like a 5-year lifespan in the early 80s. But there's a lot of old Star Frontiers fans still clamoring for that. So I'm not surprised. I could barely. I don't even remember what the game or what I ran. I remember we played Star Frontiers, but for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what the hell we were doing.
Nice. And then we've also got Leslie, who's our newest crew member, who jumped in, slotted in like she had been playing with us from the very beginning, which was magical in and of itself, because sometimes it can be tough to bring people in that kind of match your play style and the vibe and everything else. And it was
You're so intimidating, John.
yeah.
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
He's the legend of tabletop.
Legendary.
So what's been your experience coming in and like joining such a well-established group, especially for the game that we were playing with our Day Trippers game? Because John and I, John wasn't in the very beginning, but Jesse was.
Yeah.
But then John and I played 2-player for a very long time, which was pretty intense. I know there were other complications that wound up causing that game to not come to fruition, but
I'm sorry.
just like overall, just jumping in with a new group, what was that like for you?
I mean, I think my favorite was the way that you just approached me in the beginning. You're like, I realize you have no reason to speak to me or respond to this message on Twitter, randomly Twitter person. Would you like to play a game? And honestly, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a personality thing. Those kind of things are just like, sure, why not? I'll give it a try. The worst thing that happens is I play one game
Yeah.
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
So no, it was fine. And you guys were super welcoming and like easy to hang out with and easy to like bounce like stuff off of. And I really liked your play style. Like it was very similar to mine anyway. It felt like very comfortable and very easy. So yeah, it was good. It was very good. I was like, this is nice. I like this place. I'll stay here.
And it wasn't very long before you were like, hey, so I want to run this other thing. So what do you guys think about playing with us?
And then I'm like, come play in my games.
And then we never play.
We're playing tomorrow, John.
Tomorrow it's happening.
It's happening. You
On
too.
the calendar.
Next year in Jerusalem. I'm still waiting for the Star Wars game from like 2012. So
Well, we were supposed to play not a one shot, but we'll call it like a short shot, right? Like something like,
Mini
3
campaign.
to 6 sessions, like kind of like a small storyline or whatever. It had a very definitive end because I was going to kill them all.
Hmm.
And
spoiler alert.
No,
we knew
no.
that going in.
I told them this going in. I'm like, you're all gonna die.
TPK. TPK.
I'm like, play this game like you're gonna die. They were like, okay. So that all started, and I was like, this will only be like a few months or whatever. Like, we'll just kind of like fit it in or whatever. And then time happened.
Yep.
It's like every time we tried to schedule the next game, something would happen.
Life.
So, when was the
Yeah.
last game? I don't remember.
I'm imagining the title of this game is like Lawn Dart the Musical. You're all gonna die. There is no hope. We're riding this right into the dirt.
Lawn Dart the musical. I like that.
Actually, I'm running midnight.
You
So
can take that, John. I'll let you have that one. You want to write that up? Make sure I'm in the playtest group. I don't need another project right now.
Oh shit.
I only start projects. I don't finish anything.
Mhm.
Ugh, I have to. The clowns will eat me if I don't.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying playing. I'm really enjoying running. It's great. That's cool. I like it. I'll keep you guys.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we were friends on Twitter before I asked that question.
Yeah, just
Oh,
try and make it less creepy.
I acknowledged the creepy factor when I sent the DM.
That's so funny.
You know, it's one of the hardest things about getting female gamers. I mean, female gamers, they're better than male gamers. I'll say it. I'm a Cthulhu player. If it's an all-male group at a con, I'm like, oh, they're going to be so stupid. But if there's one girl, the stupid guys will be less stupid because there's a girl there. So, but to just
Possible.
randomly, reach out
Approach
to a
somebody.
female player, a female player or a female author and say, hey, do you want to? There's always a creepy factor initially.
God, yeah.
Yeah. I think
Well,
yeah.
I tend to like assume the best in people, which is just, again, it's just me.
A minority opinion.
I know.
God bless you.
I'm very
Yeah.
strange that way, but weirdly, hey, it worked out.
Yeah.
Well, and you were, I mean, like, to your credit, you were like, hey, so, like, let's do a hangout, let's get everybody
Yeah.
in, like,
Yeah.
let's meet on Discord first and like
Yeah.
not, jump into like a whole thing.
Yeah, we like talked and stuff, and I was like, here's the things that I don't want to role play. You always got to lead with that list,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then everything else is fine. So that was good. And now we're all going to PAX. So everybody needs to be at PAX.
Watermelon Con. It's
Mhm.
Watermelon Con. It's not PAX.
Well, PAX Unplugged / Watermelon,
The musical.
the music.
Mm.
Yeah, this is good times. I didn't know what I was getting into either with like the game that we were playing or the rule set or anything. So it was the surreal factor and the new rule factor. I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Rolling with this.
Yeah, the simple. I say the system is very simple. But Kurt and I played our noir game on Tuesday, and then we came up to a situation, and we just I had 10 minutes of like, all right, how do we handle this? Like, we played this game for 6 years now. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's good though. It'll lead to it leads to like good decisions, and it's I like what I listen to the noir games, and I like when you do that. Keep it in.
Oh, I don't know. This was bad. I think Kurt should edit that out.
Oh.
Most of it, anyway.
You get the thought process behind the decisions why someone's going in a certain direction. I think that can be really cool, as long as you're not just sitting there going Hey!
Hey, we got Jesse.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm like, who the heck is Casey? One of those
Oh,
Zoom jumpers or whatever.
Oh,
it's under my daughter's name.
Commandeered laptop.
Well,
That's amazing. Can you imagine? I know you can imagine because we all went through the pandemic, but there were certain meetings where it'd be like, let me double check and make sure my name is not Zulu Monster Fighter.
Yeah,
Oh, I had that. Oh man, I had a meeting with the members of the National for the MS Society, and here I am with Hatchet Girl on the side. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So I had to explain.
oh,
to
that's
them.
awesome.
I signed in as the Goblin King for something work related. I had to fix that real quick.
Oh, the only thing I had was I was in I think it was a family thing, or one of my family members was doing some sort of a professional work related political thing, and it was Reggie Aloysius Carlisle was my name in it. Who's Reggie Aloysius? What is that? It's like, sorry. Don't worry about it.
Just Josh and you.
It's nothing.
It was nothing. It was just a little joke.
Giggles.
Yes. That's awesome.
and what have you been up to recently, Lee? I know we've seen some articles
Yes.
get posted and a couple interviews get posted. What have you been up to recently?
Oh gosh. I went to the summer session for the Ad Astra. What was it? It was a residential workshop for science fiction and speculative imagination, which was
Ooh.
pretty cool. And that was put on by Christopher McKitterick and Kish Johnson. That was for 2 weeks in Lawrence, Kansas at the KU campus in student housing. It was actually quite cool. Learned quite a bit. And I'm currently finishing touches on an article that I'm trying to submit to an outlet. And if they don't accept this piece, then it's going on the Legends website. So yeah, I also have a couple other reviews that are in the works, and those will be up in the following months as the projects reach completion, and I am no longer held under an obligation to not talk about them, but I want to talk about them quite a bit because they're super cool.
That's awesome.
But yes,
Great.
amazing stuff.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, we got Kevin. He's got his Gen X beanie on. Looks like he's going bald.
I have very big ears, and headphones don't look very good when you have big giant ears. So,
And Kevin's story was the coolest. I know we've told it before, but after we started releasing the actual play stuff, and I realized, oh, the queue is not large enough for me to, possibly sustain this. I started releasing some of the old Nerdbound podcasts, which was the first podcast that I was on with Neil. And Kevin found it on the internet, found it, reached out and was like, hey, is this from Nerdbound? Are you the guy from the thing? And I'm like, yeah. He was like, oh, that's cool. I found it. I'm like, well, fuck, then you got to come and play with us then. Cause like, what are the odds of that happening? Like
to
that's
balance
crazy.
out Leslie, I did a DM slide on John. So now we've evened it out a bit. And it was because I listened to a lot of all the Nerdbound stuff. And then I was trolling around for new podcasts because I work in IT. So I'm listening to stuff all day. And I heard John's intro to one of the episodes. And I'm like, I recognize that voice. And then I did a DM slide and he said, oh, yeah, that's us. Do you want to play? So it worked out really well.
Yeah, that's it still blows my mind. It's crazy to me that happened. It's so cool.
And it was after, so I was at work and I was downloading a bunch of podcasts and I didn't realize that I had, was it the old Google Music? I forget what it was called. I had it on my work computer. So it automatically downloaded about 80 gig of podcasts on my work computer. So the security guy came up and said, hey, not for nothing, but what the hell are you downloading? I'm like, hey, it's patches for the servers. Don't worry about it. So I had to make sure I uninstalled.
It's porn. We just want to let you know.
Probably
It's
would've
like,
been better, right?
It's your mom's only fans. Leave me alone.
So it was probably all the old, all of the Legends of Tabletop I missed, and then probably some Nerdbound stuff that I didn't have. I just automatically started syncing when I was at work. So that was
Yep.
that was a good thing. So, and then John sent me, so I saw John and I sent him a message and he said, oh, that's really cool. Hey, do you want to play? We need some players. So everything else from there is history. So
And Kurt was another random, like, hey, so like I have a podcast, so like we should probably just do like a whole network, right? Because that sounds like a thing that people do. Hey, do you want to join this thing?
Yeah.
Random guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
So let's sum that up.
Yeah. Oh, you made me feel special for sure. I was like, a network? What is that? You listen to things and everyone always goes, there's a network, but you're like, I don't know what a network is. I'm like, all I know is me and me and a couple of other friends did a thing, and when you were like, oh, would you like to be a part of this whole thing? I was like, what does that mean? And then you were like, oh, there's other people involved. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then
less work for you. John does all the work. Kurt doesn't have to do all the work. So
Well, ultimately it worked out for me because, I got you, but the network was never anything. So it didn't work out for you at all.
That's not true. You had like 3 whole podcasts on it.
No, we had like 6. It was
Really?
MFG Cast, us, the Dragon Fisters, Gamers Table, Tandi's
that's right,
podcast. So we had at least 5.
Oh, there you go.
for all the good it did.
Yeah. And then I even put it on our website. And then every year I'd be like, okay, are these guys still on? Okay, I have to take this off. Sorry. Are these guys still on? No, they're not. Oh, that's too bad. I have to take this off too. Welcome to the Legends of Tabletop Network. It's us and it's them. That's it. Legends and MFG Cast. We did it.
Yeah, we got
I
the
mean,
best
that is like
parts.
the upside
Yes.
and downside of podcasting is it's so easy to get into it and get started. And it's so easy to just stop.
Yes.
It's-
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, do I do a podcast tonight or do I take a nap? It's very hard to weigh these right now.
nappy.
Yeah. Snap.
Oh shit, 2 weeks ago I forgot that I was into an editing weekend, and then I was at MaricopaCon, and then I was like, well shit, if I stay up, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Guess what? There's no episode on Monday because
I saw that downloaded.
downloaded.
I
You-
saw that downloaded and I was completely confused. I'm like, okay, did John forget the copy and the title of this episode? And I listened to it. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So
Oh, but all jokes aside, that's how you get to 200 episodes.
Yes.
You have
Yeah.
to learn that when you get
Yes.
to the I just can't,
Yeah.
you don't. If
Yep.
you're like
Yeah.
really hard on yourself and you're just unforgiving with yourself, you'll quit on yourself. You've got to give yourself those breaks. And I mean, you know, that's the way to do it. And
Oh,
here
yeah.
we are 200 episodes in, so you're obviously doing something right, pal.
I mean, at
Yeah.
the same time, if he wasn't such a slacker, he would have hit 200 like 3 years ago.
Well,
To be fair, I started slacking off like at the beginning of the pandemic. I didn't.
I'm
feel
pretty
like
sure
doing
we all
anything.
did. You're-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all figured out what our priorities were, and it definitely, no offense, it was not podcasting.
No, it was naps.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It was sourdough bread.
Mastering the
Oh,
cast
God.
iron skillet was mine.
So-
Yeah,
I'm with you on
it's
that
like it's like the TV show where the guy loses his job or the girl loses their job, and then they try 8 different things, and they're like, "Go get a job," that kind of thing.
Yeah, right. The scene in every show. Get a job.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Well, it's not too far off the mark. The first 100 episodes took 22 months. So I was doing, 40,
Damn.
50 regular episodes a year plus the actual play stuff and all the editing. I would be up until, there were some weekends where because I work on Sundays. So I'd be up Saturday night until like 1:00 finishing an episode so I could get it, get stuff posted. And then to get to our next 100 episodes, it took 6 years and 5 months.
Oh God.
Now,
'Cause
though,
we
that
don't do-
doesn't that though doesn't count. That's not actual plays, though, right?
No, that's regular episodes.
Yeah.
So interviews, conversations, character,
All right,
whatever
that makes
random.
that makes sense because I think you and I did like 50 actual play episodes in like 2
Right.
years.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, I bet you like 60% of that is Oscar doing something for you.
So
when
you
you
don't
get a-
count
when
actual plays.
When you get a good group of players, you really want to write with them, and it does it at that point. It's just like hanging out with your friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's like one game goes really well, and you've already got the idea for the next one.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
this
it's very
motherfucker
very addictive.
That's why John
How
and
many-
Jesse are stuck with me.
You're
John
right.
and Jesse. Like
How
we
many-
had so much fun playing together, and it was just
Yeah.
like, oh, we need to find a reason to do this some more.
Yeah.
How many scenarios did you write just for the podcast?
Hold
Like
on,
6.
I've got
8?
a folder of all of the adventures.
I got
Nice.
an adventure for my birthday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hold on, I'm pulling it up now.
that's
pal.
precious.
That's the sweetest, nerdiest thing I've ever heard.
Super cool. Super cool.
Nerd love, man.
Yes. The best love.
Hmm.
Okay, just count. I'm going to give you titles. Just count them. Just
Okay.
let me count. Aiden Relief, Harvest Moon Hunt, Ink and Venom, Our Beloved Bronwill, Para in the Pyreneal Hills, Shadow of the Oak, Undying Embers, The Secret Session Between the Shores,
Hmm.
which was a one shot with Jesse, and the bog of, and it's a Welsh name that I'm not even going to try and pronounce. So we're just going to call that the bog.
That's
So-
9.
Nine adventures.
Man,
And then-
I am glad you didn't have two more because nobody wants to see my feet.
Yes. Thank you.
That's
And
when
there
you
was-
start doing an ASL of
And there was
Oh,
one wrap up session that really wasn't a game. It was just like a retrospective where they met all of these NPCs to wish them goodbye as they were leaving Britannia finally, like the official end of the campaign. And then the big horrible plot twist that Jesse and I had been planning for like 16 months,
Yes.
which was great.
Which I
So-
forgot about in the moment, even though I think we all knew. But then when it happened, I was still like, fuck.
So for those of you who don't know, in the game, Jesse's character died and was replaced by the Fae with a changeling. So he played half the campaign as a changeling and role played subtle changes in his personality that almost nobody ever picked up on. Like before he was a changeling, he was going to whorehouses, he was drinking, and he always had a piece of fruit. But because he was a changeling, didn't have a soul and felt no joy in anything, he stopped eating, he stopped drinking, and he stopped visiting brothels. And nobody picked up on it for the entire rest of the campaign. And when they and then when they sailed away, his character turned into a sack of leaves, twigs, straw, and just collapsed on deck as soon as they got out of a mile offshore of Britannia. And John kind of had suspected something. The other two players were like completely flat-footed, dumbfounded,
That's right.
enraged.
Oh shit.
So
And he set it up too, because he, Jesse's like, oh, I, get 1 foot up on the bow and grab the rope, and I'm looking out over the thing, and then the wind blew, and he started to crumple and like dissolve into twigs.
we totally played it up. He was like, oh, I've got my nephew's wedding is in Antioch. You should go there. It was like, it's like, I'm gonna be fishing on my boat. I've got 2 more weeks till I retire. It was just great.
Made everybody feel like, oh man, he's about to live his best life.
Boom.
Pile of leaves.
Yeah, one of the in 30 years of role playing. Hold on. I'm sorry. In 40 years of role playing, that is one of my top 5 favorite moments of any game in my entire lifetime of role playing.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
It was all your setup.
You dream about those long con gambits, and they never work. Because you're either too stupid to pull it off, your players are too stupid to realize it, or too smart, they see it coming. But this just all came together perfectly.
Yep.
Very good.
That's awesome.
Speaking of Jesse,
What?
yeah, you've been there from the beginning too, because you were with on the Nerdbound forum and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
we hooked up.
I was
that
part of the
weekend.
Nerdbound network for about 2.5 weeks before
Yep.
they stopped.
Yep. Yeah, we had to play with. So that was my second podcast. So after Nerdbound fell apart and we stopped recording there, Jesse was still going with the Dragon Fisters at the time, and then I had an idea for another campaign. So then he was like, "Hey, you're not doing anything, right? Do you want to play?" So joined that campaign for shit. How long did we play? Like 3-4 years? It was a while.
Something like that. Yeah. It might have been longer than that, honestly.
I have the notebooks. I don't feel like grabbing
There
them.
you go. That was the only thing I could keep going with after the kids were born.
Hmm.
So I would actually be playing most of our sessions with like a 2-month-old in my lap at 11 o'clock at night.
I remember those days.
Yep.
And it was the same thing too, right? Like Jesse asked me to play, And I was like, sure, because we went from playing like a shit ton of games with Nerdbound between the forum and the actual podcast and everything else to almost nothing. And at the time I had moved, so I'd moved out to Arizona, so I didn't have a group here. And when he asked me to play, he was like, well, let's get the other players. We'll play, something just to see, right? Because you never know whether or not, people are going to vibe and, what things are going to be like. And we played like a one page, one shot, like Temple of the Rat King or Village of the Rat King.
I can't remember the system. It was Dungeon Delver, I think.
Dungeon Delvers. Yeah.
And it's literally like it's a one-page rule book with like 3 classes and an adventure on one page. And I'm like, let's try this out.
And
we played for like 4 hours.
Yeah. And it was like fucking magic, right? Like like it all just fucking gelled and like everything was perfect. And at the end, Jesse was like, there was some silence and he was like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. And then I think we started playing next week.
That sounds like Jesse.
Yep. I mean, honestly, that's pretty much how all of these have gone, right? We've taken like a shot in the dark. Like, hey, let's play something, see if it maybe works out. And it's like all of them have like clicked like magic.
It's good when you find your people, right? I mean, that's
right.
It's been nothing but humbling and whatever to be associated with so many cool and creative people that and we're all friends. It's not like we just record a podcast and then kind of hang out. And it's sort of the opposite. Like, well, now we have to have the podcast to make sure that we get together to hang out because like everything is fucking horrible and like it just forces us to get together and just like do the thing.
I think I actually just found out why it takes you so long to get to 200. Because the first 2 years, the podcast was pretty much you doing interviews, right?
A lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. The last 6 years has been you playing games with your friends.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like,
yeah.
So you don't count actual plays as episodes?
No. So like, as far as the podcast goes, as far as like podcast releases, I'm going to check the SoundCloud right now.
So what is it? If it's releases, what episode is it actually?
So the
600?
Their total
Probably.
released podcasts are 675.
Nice.
Yes.
There you go. I mean,
The number of like numbered regular episodes or whatever, like where we do this kind of thing or we do interviews or like that kind of stuff.
like
Those
a round
numbered
table.
things. That's it. 200.
I'm betting I'm at least 15% of all of those.
And I just want to take a moment to thank you for letting me in on this
course.
centenary
kidding me?
one, because the 100th episode I don't think I made it on that one for more than 30 seconds.
I think that was my fault too, because there was like a double of you. So I booted one, and then I think it blocked you out.
You
from
booted
rest of
the
the
wrong
thing.
one.
wrong one. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's my fault.
And I mean, honestly, too, though, you've kept the whole. I mean, John's done some interview stuff here and there in the last few years, but hey, you've been the one that's really kind of kept the interview aspect of it going.
Yeah.
Well,
like
I
bringing
mean,
in so many different creators and everything like that. So
I can't help it because I mean, I feel I'll be honest. I am a greedy bitch. Okay. When it comes to things like that, when I have the opportunity to talk to someone about something that they've done, I want to know for me, so yeah. And I have taken a lot of the things that I have gleaned from talking to all of these wonderful authors and writers and creators, and applied them to my own approach towards doing things. And I feel that it's definitely made me more effective at what I've done, coming into this from a drunken discussion at Necronomicon in 2015. If you want to do this, I don't know. I might want to. Maybe we'll talk. And
Great origin story.
Much like the American Revolution, a lot of amazing things happen during drunk conversations at Necronomicon.
Thank you.
Well,
I was hoping.
I mean, what was it, 2015 or 2017? I don't actually remember.
I don't.
No,
it was one or the other.
It had to be 2015 because 2017 was the time that we all had that panel about video games and the Cthulhu mythos. And
yes.
Yeah, and every fucking buddy forgot their nameplates and lost their nameplates. But I had the foresight, like 20 minutes before that panel started, to go to Nick Gucker and be like, hey, you know what? These prints are great. I want to buy these prints. Oh, also, please doodle me a nameplate.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Still have that nameplate that he doodled for me on the back of a pizza box or something, and like taped to my guest bedroom wall.
That's beautiful.
That is perfect.
Oh man. But yeah, thank you, John, for giving me this opportunity, because
of course,
my life has been forever changed because of it.
No doubt.
Oh,
The same.
I'm serious. It has.
Well, I mean, I'll only speak for me, but I feel, that it's probably the same for everybody, right? I mean, we wouldn't all be here like this if it wasn't for the podcast.
1/5 of my sanity survived the pandemic because of Legends of Tabletop. Because I had something to look forward to every couple of weeks that I was going to hang out with my friends. It was virtual, but still, we had a regular get together that we all looked forward to. So,
Yeah. John, you said, because of the podcast, but that's you. So you're the one.
All right, I gotta go.
You sticking to it. You sending out the invites and the reminders and all that. I mean, it's you.
Well, so we haven't talked about you yet. I mean, you
don't need to. I'm just saying you are the podcast.
It's your turn, John.
You've been, like our itinerant player, and we have Danny to thank.
What's
for
itinerant mean?
I thank you so much. I was about to Google it.
I was going to too, but I have everything on the large screen, and I'm afraid to click off it. I don't know if I'm going to get out or whatever.
Listen,
So
Summer
you're the
doesn't
wanderer.
read books all that much, okay, John?
You are the wanderer. You wander.
yeah,
You're like
okay.
silver-
All right.
You're the Silver Surfer of podcasting. You
Ah,
bring
there
it
we
out.
go.
Ooh,
Finally, a reference I can get.
I like the Silver Surfer.
Well, and
You got to paint yourself.
He looks just like him.
next time.
He sees the silver.
no, you don't.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so we had our cipher thing going, which I hate cipher system, but that's a whole different story. But
The story
Danny
was
was playing with us at the time, and she'd
I
played a
liked
couple
it.
other games with us,
Yeah,
and she bailed, and we got you because we were looking for another player, and she was like, "Oh, I have somebody else that'll play." I was like, "Okay, cool. We're always looking for somebody else," and we lost Danny, but we got a John, and I think it worked out better for us.
yeah. Everything from that, everything worked out just fine.
Things work out for a reason.
No, it was good. It was no, I don't know. I've been so much better for it, and your grace during my hiatuses were greatly appreciated, welcoming me back with open arms, and I
Well, there was
so
never
much
any question.
joy. But if you were like, nah, I would have been fine. You know, I would have gotten it. You know what I mean?
Well,
but
but it was the same thing though, right? Like there was that magic when you played with us, and then you know, and it all worked and stuck around. And then when the twins were born and Jesse had to bail out at the Day Trippers game, and then it was just you and I, like just some of the best gaming that I've ever had. Just the two of us in, you know, doing that whole thing. Like it was just, I mean, it's amazing.
Good.
Like it was just so good. Like it's just so.
Yeah, just like establishing the be like, yes, the game, the playing with you one-on-one was awesome, and like just the opportunity to establish the bonds between those characters in that way that was afforded was great. I don't know, it was great. Some of them, like I've said before, some of those rewarding role-playing experiences spawned from that game, you know. So it was it's I'm very, very grateful to be allowed into this mess. Anyway, and
then when you came back, it was great because Todd wanted to run Day Trippers again. I don't know if we've talked about this on air or not, but this is how Leslie came in. Working on Core Complete and all this kind of stuff, and was looking to run more core stuff because John had taken a break and we weren't doing we were doing some random things, and he said he wanted to run Day Trippers, and I was like, no, like absolutely not, because we won't do that without John. And he was like, well, I have an idea and like we could run and blah 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 whatever. And I said, because I can ask another player, which was Leslie, and Leslie came in, and I told him, I said, let's see. I said, because I have to talk to John first, because we can't play if John doesn't give approval then, right? Because it's this is all like because at that point it was you and I. Well, no, because Jesse was in for the last little bit, right? I guess before
I've been in for
you bounced.
Maybe 2 sessions. I've been back for maybe 2 sessions. So
yeah.
But my character ruined your character.
My first one, absolutely, yeah.
I will never forgive myself.
Oh, it was amazing. It was some of the best.
Yeah,
long story short, my character had kind of a breakdown. John's character gave him drugs to keep him going, and ultimately it ruined him.
Yeah. I mean, carrying forward that guilt in character was I love doing, but it was also real. It's informed a lot of my decisions in the real world.
Amazing.
I'm proud never to give a person drugs.
Never turn to drugs. I've lectured my children about the dangers of drugs because of what Reggie did to you.
Yeah, all I saw was Dare t-shirts galore every time he was on again.
Oh man.
But that was the cool thing. Like, when I reached out to you, right? Because we chat, right? Like, I mean, we have numbers and we text and whatever. And, I was like, hey, can I give you a call? And you were like, sure, whatever. And then, kind of gave you the breakdown, and you're like, well, I might be ready to come back.
That was quite good timing, actually. It
floored me. Like, I was so ecstatic that you were ready to come back.
He was giddy.
On the flip side, I felt really bad because we brought Leslie in to kind of like make her like a central part of this new thing that was happening. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, and the other guy's coming back again now. So like,
you were worried that Reggie was going to give her character drugs and ruin that. I get it. I get it.
Just say no, kids.
Just say no. Zoom, or whatever the Christ. I think it was Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been awesome to have you back again, because again, it's been,
if you hadn't, well, that's I mean, you know me, I would never have reached out. So like, I had been thinking about it, so it was just one of those. Hey, you contacted me at the perfect time, where I was like, oh, perfect. I'll just casually mention that I was thinking about it. No big deal.
No big.
I mean, we've had the rule from even before it was a podcast that like life takes precedent over the game, right? Like, we obviously don't cancel for little minor stuff, and if you're an idiot, don't be an idiot. But like, if you have something serious going on, that is way more important than the game. But at the same time, like, us sitting around is us socializing and being, even if it's like this is how we get together. So it's that weird balance of like, we're friends and we want to hang out, but every once in a while you gotta step back just for your own sanity.
Yeah, and sometimes I think coming back to this kind of stuff also helps too. Because even if you're in a little bit of a rut and you come back and you put your heart into something that you love and you're around people that you love, then it's just like, it pushes it to like a next level. And then you're done. Because like, I guarantee you, all of us have been like, fuck, we have to play. Fuck, I don't know if I want to play. I'm so tired. It's been a long day. You know, fuck, I'll grab a beer. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
When was our last game? Was that?
Yeah, exactly. And then you do it. And then after you're done, you're like, why the fuck was I so worried about it? Of course it was going to be great. You know, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think speaking to the John thing, I think the game we ran, the Cthulhu Dreamlands game, still to me was so much fun. And a lot of that was the character that John played. And I was so happy when John came back, when John H said John B was going to come back and play some games, that it's fun because you do the stuff you come up with and the characters you inhabit are fun to play with and play around with. So I was quite happy that when we said we were going to do a Cthulhu game, that you were going to be involved in it, because that other one was so much fun that we did, that John and I separately kept saying we've got to do a Cthulhu game again because that was so much fun. And yeah, I'm really happy that we got that together again.
That was the one with Danny, right? Like the hell was that?
The Dreaming of the River of Night one.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
That was fun.
That was a good game. That was a fun game.
And I think John even said because we took it and we changed it a little bit, not much, but I think you said the writer of the scenario actually watched it on YouTube and gave you some good comments.
Yeah,
so
Jason.
to
Oh,
me,
no
that-
shit.
He reached
Yeah,
out
that's
to
cool.
me. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
because that was something I had that PDF, and there was another scenario in there that I was going to take but change, but that one I'm like, well, let's just run that one because that one seems fun. And yeah, to have the person who wrote it said, yeah, that was really cool, I like that. You know, you can't ask for anything more than that. Yeah. So
I love the weird, I guess this is probably the wrong word, but the paradoxical nature of Cthulhu and like its characters, like with the one we're doing now. Like I'm an accountant. I'm dead. You understand? Like I'm gone. I was gone when I created the character. I can't wait for it to happen. It's just. Oh yeah, you're an investigator. No, I'm not.
But that's
Go
the
crazy,
fun part of it,
Going
right?
insane. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's.
You're just normal people, and like this weird fucked up shit happens.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
how do you?
And it makes sense, like because
Yeah.
that's who
No,
you are.
Normal's
you know?
a bit of a stretch for these characters,
Yeah.
John.
Well,
They're all a
yeah.
little
Yeah.
weird. Just a bit touched.
but I think I said when we were chatting before, I said there were certain things that I want to do, right? And but when I mentioned there's a couple throwaway things that various people have said, and I'm like, okay, that's perfect because I
is
can
not perfect.
spin that out. And to me, that's so much fun because all I've been thinking about is if people remember, I think like Oscar said, right, the things with Jesse, if people catch on or see that, to me, I'm like, okay, well, I didn't even think of that. Now I'm going to take that and go somewhere else with it. So I'm
Shit, I gotta listen to those episodes.
Really
Gotta
happy.
listen back.
What did I
Back and
say?
listen.
Oh no.
no good
I've
things.
gotta
Not,
listen
not-
to a lot of
yes,
it.
you're not going to walk it, yeah, but it's just story things that I'm like, okay, this is what I kind of wanted to do, but you guys built that out just by that, and I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense to take those and build something off of it, and it ties back to the character, right? Because that's always the big thing. You don't want to railroad players through something if they say things, and I think Jesse's good at that too, of what are the characters' motivations or what are their backstory, things like that. And I think these couple things, I'm like, okay, well, this sounds cool to me. I can spin something out of that. And hopefully when you guys see that, it'll tie back and not bring the characters more into it, but give them a bigger hook, because we're not just reading something and just saying, okay, well, you do this, you do that, you go here. These things are like, okay, well, that's kind of cool because that just got thrown up by, and as we always joke around, there's not a lot of dice rolling. There's lots of talking, and the talking stuff helps you do that. And to me, that's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, real time role playing. And I'm glad that my character cowering in the back seat of the car during a gunfight is going to something's going to come of that. You're welcome.
You know, when we don't just do like a lot of talking and not a lot of dice rolling is when we play with Oscar. You know, we'll start the show. Okay, somebody roll D100. Fuck, what?
what does that mean?
I'll say somebody drop a 12 and they'll like, okay, 11. I'm like, all right, it's a cold November morning. And they're like, oh shit. We'll make a luck roll. It's raining. I'm like, fuck. But it's just so nice to put agency in the hands of dice and players. You know, I mean, and there's a big difference investigating a haunted house in August than it is in February in New England. So, you know,
When you take your car off
weather
the
and
road.
seasons and the road conditions. So yeah, just to mix it up, I'll have them roll at the beginning of the adventure for, you know, the month that this is taking place.
The weather.
I mean, the thing I love about it though is that you're not just making the players roll to roll, right? You're not just like making them afraid or anything like that. Like when we have these random luck rolls and all this kind of stuff, you then make it into something, right?
Yes.
Like you don't, it's not just like, oh, it turns out there's a crow that flies over your head. Oh, you think it's a bad omen. But then you actually turn that into something instead of like, it doesn't just end there. It's something that then continues throughout the entire session and actually matters.
Well, it's when you have good players, it makes you want to really bring your A game. Because if you bring your A game for players who aren't good, they don't notice all those little things, and it's not even worth the effort to do.
Man, I can't wait until you get a table of A games, A plays then. Because
Dude,
I can't
you're
wait
in
to-
one. You're
to see you
in
run.
one. Dude, to put away childish things. That was
good.
that was
good.
it falls apart in part 3. I'm gonna have to rewrite that. I don't like how that mini campaign ended. I'm really happy with part 1 and 2. I'm not so happy with 3. But I mean, that was some amazing role playing and some really challenging material. That was
Oh, that was
for
a beautiful
A game
story.
players, you know, unraveling a really difficult, terrifying mystery. And what was great about that is you had to go to an abandoned hospital. You had to get on a boat ride where the boat was due to be sunk by magic. And when we rolled up, it was fucking winter. So when you guys get to shore soaking wet, you all almost freeze to death. You know, you have to find a fisherman's cabin, strip off all your clothes, huddle together naked around the fire and this dirty tarp just to survive the night. That would not have happened had somebody not rolled a winter month.
When it was July.
Yeah, if that had been July, it'd be fun. It'd be fine, you know. But
Still risk losing body parts just even huddled together over the fire.
Yeah.
And it was a mixed group of male and female players who were not couples. And they were like, well, we're going to die, so we just need to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I could picture soaking wet, rocky shore, New England, February. Yeah, you're going to die. If you don't get out of these clothes and make a fire, you're going to die.
And
But
I
then
didn't
it also
realize...
it made it had effects throughout the rest, almost the rest, at least the rest of that session and into the next one, because then like we were cold, we lost hit points. Your John's lighter didn't work, the guns didn't
Right,
like,
because everything was wet.
all
I
right.
mean, I could already see how John H. would lack experience in a climate like that without polar
I'm from Jersey.
type. I did.
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
have not been there in
forgot that,
decades.
John. I mean, I know that that I mean, I went to a diner in Sierra Vista when it was like 50 degrees outside. They had a little light, tiny little jacket, and
That's
everybody
cold out
was
here.
like huddled in parkas and shit when they were going
Yeah.
in the building. I'm like, sharing pictures to friends of mine in their bikinis in a snowbank. Like, yeah, it's the snowbank challenge. So anyway.
So when I edited the last episode, or the next, penultimate episode, maybe it was, for To Put Away Childish Things, I didn't realize how close Harry had come to death
on multiple occasions.
Well, specifically at the end, because he jumped in front of somebody. I don't remember if it was Melvin or if it was just, another, random NPC. And he got hit by her magic and started to turn to stone.
Oh, yes, I remember
and it
that.
was only because I think Lisa rolled like a 10 or like an 8 or something on her dream list, because we only had like 10 or 12 or something. And she made the roll. It's the only thing that kept him from dying. And when I went back and edited it, so many months later, I was like, holy shit.
You had PTSD.
Well, because he's been through so many adventures now, and it could have ended at the end of that mini campaign.
I've got the outline for the next one too.
Well, if you stop dying, then we'll play.
I'm working on it. Okay. Trust me. This is the longest I've gone without running a game in probably my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very sad. I mean, it's like behind the keeper screen is my natural habitat, and I've run nothing since April.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I mean, I'm really itchy to get another game together. But hopefully by November I'll be healed up from the 6th surgery and be able to go to a con or have people over and be able to sit for 6 or 7 hours without having to take painkillers or put my legs up or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we've got an Invictus game to get back to, so whenever you're ready, we're all ready to
Oh
go.
my God.
I have to roll up another character.
Well, we're definitely going to do a 1920s before we get back to Invictus, because the House on Water Street adventure that I'm dying to write is the next new thing I'm going to be writing once I finish up the things I'm working on.
Mhm.
But I'm like working on stuff that I have to work on, like the final edits of the last adventure of the Legacy of Arius Lurko, the 2nd edition. I'm doing the last rewrites on it. And spoiler alert, I've finished updating the adventure that's going to be part of a 2024 collection.
Nice.
Ooh.
If Chaosium approves it, but I've already got great pitches from multiple Emmy award-winning authors.
Not bad.
So
Nice.
very, very excited. I will say no more, but I went back and I'm like, I should be working on this. I just don't want to do it. So I'll work on that. So I'm finishing up something that's not due until like next year, but what do you know?
Well, so depending on how you're feeling, is there any chance you might make it down to PAX Unplugged?
When is that?
It is the last weekend of November, first weekend in December. It's kind of close.
My surgery is 10/17.
Oh, yeah.
So no, I'm going to still be
Recuperating.
Yeah. That's a 6-week recovery.
Yeah.
So
You're
that's
about
gonna.
that time.
Yeah, I'm not going to want to travel.
No, you don't want to push it right at the very end.
Mm-mm.
Right. I mean, I definitely should be fine for Rising Phoenix, and I've already got my room set for Necronomicon 2024. So.
Oh, nice.
Leah, are you going to make it to 2024? No. Well, I know John and Jesse will be at least up for the day.
I
Yep.
I
And I-
know.
Live here. So yeah.
I've decided to
Technically.
keep things a little bit closer to either this region of the country or the West Coast.
Yeah.
What about you, Leslie? Any way we can convince you to come up to Necronomicon?
Cthulhu Palooza.
I mean, twist my arm.
At the very least, Providence
Just-
is really nice.
just for the character. And we do it. We do an epic karaoke night too.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can probably work something out. I wonder what the drive is from Virginia.
Not bad.
Ooh.
From Virginia, not bad. That's like me going to visit my mom on a day trip.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I think it might be longer than that because your drive from Rhode Island down to Virginia Beach would have been what, 8 hours, John? Is that what you said?
Yes, I think. I mean, it depends on where it was, but my sister was went to college down there. James Madison.
So ish, maybe. 8
Yeah, it was
hours?
like 8, 9-ish.
Wait for it.
I see
Yeah.
9 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's doable.
It can
Hey, I hear
be
there's
done.
a nice train corridor. up
They've got
through there,
flights
right?
under $200.
So there's a chance.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look at it. I mean, I would probably fly at that point. My cutoff is usually somewhere around 6 or 7 hours of driving.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Any more than that, and I'm like, God, I'm sick of being in this car.
Any more
so,
than that, it's a 2-day trip. You got to stop and
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 hours behind the wheel. That's it. You're fried.
Yeah.
It won't even give me walking directions.
Hey, Grizzly
stupid
Adam.
No, you fool.
It's
Ah,
a
you fool.
It's a convention. It's not a religious pilgrimage.
right.
Well, I mean, at that point, it goes beyond walking directions. It's like hitchhiking directions. You know, good luck.
Follow the Appalachia Trail north.
Right?
Did a lot of hiking on the Appalachian Trail when I was in the Scouts. Did all in New Jersey, part of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
We did Katahdin up in Maine.
I apologize for letting your background in Jersey slip my memory.
It's best to forget.
I was so happy he played my one New Jersey adventure that I finally managed to write something in the Pine Barrens. and have a Jersey boy play the play test. I was really happy about that.
Everybody
And
was
it's
like,
okay.
"Where is
He's a
this?"
desert baby now anyway.
He actually lives on Tatooine. I mean, let's be real.
Yes.
So yesterday I got home and it was 104 and I spent 2 hours outside doing
Yes.
fucking yard work and shit. It was terrible.
I mean, if we want to be real about that, don't you spend most of your day underneath Tatooine?
No, so I don't. So we have a pit. Mine is a pit, so it's not
Oh,
underground.
okay. Okay.
But I work
thought
in
it
the
was
lab, so I'm in an air conditioned building.
Oh, okay. Hey, I
It's
mean
been-
that's
He's
a
in
privilege.
Andor or whatever that jail part was or whatever. That's where
It's
he's
kind
at.
of like that.
Yeah, see, I knew it.
It's been
That's a
85
privilege.
degrees this whole week and the country's pretty much shut down. So that just
I was
shows.
gonna say, that's
Oh.
really hot for you guys.
Yeah, 85. Well, because no one
It
has air
was-
conditioning. So
yeah.
Yeah,
It
we're
was
on.
96 today
Yeah, I think it was 94 here.
in Boston.
Fourth,
That's
fourth,
nasty.
fourth or fifth day in a row of over 90s in New York.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Is it like
We had-
20 degrees by you, Kurt?
Well, we last week.
We
Well,
got
last
snow
weekend,
yesterday.
last weekend we had 100 degrees with 83% humidity. So
Oh.
people were Frosty the Snowman dying on the street.
Jesus. I'm melting.
Yes,
That
exactly.
is traumatizing. Kurt.
Yeah, yeah. And I grew up in California, so you think I'd be used to this, but no, I've been away from California way too long. So
Right, yeah.
living in
The
Wisconsin now, it's just
humidity-
like you get outside and it's over, 90 degrees. You're like, you
The
You retreat
humidity
back down.
is not in California. I don't care. The humidity is not there.
yeah,
Yeah. But it's the humidity that kills me here in Kansas.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
The
man.
central part of
it's-
the United States can just stew sometimes. The humidity just kind of
yeah,
Blech.
it takes
there.
Yeah.
everything out of you.
Just collects.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sits.
Yeah.
I
When
think
you
some of the worst humidity I ever felt was actually in St. Louis.
Yep.
It's like the
That's
the
a
air,
bad
you
part
you feel it
in
when you
Kansas
walk.
City. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
soupy.
well during the humidity, it's like, I walk into work and I'm like, all I did was walk into work and it looked like I've been working outside for 3 weeks.
Yeah. You're done.
Yeah.
I'm going home.
Yep. Do we have any communal showers here? Because I need one right now. It's ridiculous.
My family's from Texas, and some of them
Oh,
are still all down
I'm
in
sorry.
Houston. And I went to go visit them earlier this summer, and I was just like, y'all live in hell. I can't do this.
For more than one reason.
Yeah, no
Also
shit.
true. Yeah, it was too much for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is bad.
I was thinking of a question that we always bring up whenever we talk about it, and I know John will have his thoughts on this. So, do they prefer running or do they prefer playing in a game? So, would you rather be a player or would you rather be running it? So we know what John's answer is. So because we
Player.
talked to him before about it.
I hate running.
Same.
I think it's because of all the people here that I've played with. Like, me running a game is more rewarding because it's fun to just watch somebody play something you created and be like, wow, they're really getting into it. Like, this is stupid, but they're like making it into something that's like really fun. And then when you're done, you're like, wow, it actually feels like I accomplished something this time, even though, again, I'm just facilitating a story and they're doing all the work, but still.
Oh,
John,
you're great.
John, I think he's talking about us being stupid.
We're pretty stupid.
No. John H, I know, says he does not like to run games. So that's why I was pointing
Even though
at
he's
him.
good at it.
No,
The alien game.
Yeah,
I
Haremza
enjoy
flogs
the
himself
alien
all the time, but he's really good at
Hey,
playing
whoa, whoa.
characters
He is a
and
self-flogger.
running as well if you run something. But he was always like, that's so bad. It's like, no, you did
That
great.
was spot on. Spot on.
That was John. I knew it. Thank you. I'm really good at voices.
I like to run. I love to play, but I don't get invited to a lot of games. So
Oh God.
because when I do, I totally Shatner it up, and I'm annoying as all living hell. So I run mostly. It's kind of like if you're a really good cook, do you want to make dinner for everyone, or do you want to sit back and let somebody else make dinner? And then you're like eating the food and you're like, oh, I could have done better than this. So
Yes.
it's a little bit conceited. It's a little bit, but like, oh, we would all had a much better time if I would have just cooked. So I end up cooking a lot. It's
No, that's what I mean. I was a near forever DM. I think I DM'd for about 8 years before ever actually playing, like having a character in a game at all. I started my D&D career as a DM and went 8 years before I ever played a character. My halfway through the first session of me being a player, I was like, I'm ready to go back to being a DM now.
That's funny.
But
I
I think
think-
it's with luckily I have a good balance of I'm running a couple of games and I'm in a
Fine.
couple of games with really good players and a really good GM. So that allows me to have both sides. Like, I always need to GM, but I always want to play. So this is the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I think Jesse and I have already established we're kind of twinsies, so that's pretty accurate for me. Like, I mostly run. I run for everyone all the time. And so, and I love to do it. Like I really do. Like there's nothing better than that feeling of like watching your players gel, especially in a really good scene. You just kind of like sit back like, yes, you know, like that is a glorious feeling. But yeah, playing with this group has really like also kind of like rejuvenated my like joy in playing characters too. So I think I'm getting the best of both worlds right now. So super lucky.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say when everyone else was talking about stuff. Like, I didn't start role playing until high school. Like I didn't, because when I was younger, I was a Marine brat, so we moved around a lot. So I didn't have friend groups. You know, it was just I had one friend that treated me like shit. I went to the next group that happened, same thing. Went to the next one, whatever. So you know, I barely got to play in high school and did a little bit or whatever. And I feel like, you know, getting together with John and getting together with everybody else, and like it's made me a better player. It's made me a better GM, and it's actually made me a better writer, which I'm still a terrible writer, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was when I first started. So
That's awesome.
Those games we played, Kurt, that you wrote, those kind of one-off, those really quick games we played were so much fun.
Thank you.
I still remember just it was coming in cold. This is what you're going to do. And those just random things, they were so much fun because it gives you that just spur of the moment kind of thing. And I think I really did enjoy playing those games.
For sure.
Yeah, if those bones could talk was such a fun game.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I had lots of fun too.
We've got a wild Neil. What's going on?
What's up?
Hey.
Zoom, man. What the hell? This computer was like, do you have any versions behind I am on Zoom for the desktop? Come on.
And this is the guy that started it all. Because if it wasn't for Nerdbound, none of this would have happened.
Nope.
So it's your fault, Neil. It's your fault.
I'm gonna have to
Nerdbound is the
apologize.
reason I started doing a podcast in the first place.
I apologize to all of the listeners for causing all of this. I'm sorry.
Neil is the first one. So Tad was running Rogue Trader, and you know, like open up on a forum like, hey, I'm gonna run this game, and I was like, hey, so like, can anybody play this game? And you were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So it was the first like non-D&D book that I bought was Rogue Trader, and walked into the store. It was like a fucking $60 book back in, you know, whatever the hell.
I apologize for that as well, because Rogue Trader is one of the worst organized books ever to exist. It's one of the worst tabletop books for organization and finding the information you want. It's impossible.
But it was Nerdbound that opened me up to like such a wide variety. We did a Savage Worlds game, we did Star Wars game, we did Rogue Trader, we did Dark Heresy, we played a little bit of Shadowrun, like Trail of Cthulhu.
Did you do Fear? We did Trail of Cthulhu. I don't know if you ever did Fear itself. I didn't run Fear itself as much. I used Trail more than I used Fear. But
we had a random Welcome to Murraysville, where I wound up pushing that guy into the demon.
That was a fun. I like that. I like that one. I know people were pissed about it, or like didn't love it, but I was like, I liked it. I thought it was fun.
It was a fun game. I had a good time.
It was a good one. It was a good couple sessions. 2 or 3, I think. But yeah, it was good. It's a good time.
Yeah. So
and theoretically, if schedules freaking work out, we'll have Deadlands going with more than one session. So it'll get going, man.
Next Friday.
Next Friday is the goal.
Next Friday? Oh.
I was just looking for my phone to make sure it was on my calendar. I was like, shit.
You're going to be like, I have something in the garden I got to take care of. I'm like, you bastard, get out of here.
It's melon picking day.
Yeah.
It's splash day. Fall.
Look, Leslie, I'm going to need Jim's number so I can text him.
I know. Listen, I'm this close to being like, do I have to carry your pigeon, Jesse? Because like
I told him, I said, we're going to go back to Facebook Messenger because nobody's fucking getting any messages on Discord. God
I fixed my Discord.
we're going to ICQ, AIM, you know. like,
Oh man, ICQ. Oh, we're going way back, man. Way back.
So I think the problem with our schedules is the fact that we don't know technology because we're a bunch of old people that really don't know how to work anything. Wait a minute, what is this? The Discord? What is it? I don't like Discord. I like fun stuff. Discord is a bad word.
I'm pretty sure all of us, like we've been there since the beginning. We're just tired of the bullshit.
Yeah.
We're like, just fucking work. It's 2023. Knock it off.
I know how to use Discord and a rotary phone.
Oh God.
Just put it on my calendar next week, 15th, Deadlands. So locked in.
Is that where you ran away to go write something down?
Yeah, it's going to be at the zoo house, but we'll be there. So there'll be frogs and dogs and cats all making noises, but that's fine because that's in line with the first episode. So it's all going to be congruous. Is that a word? Who cares?
Yeah,
You made it one.
Oh gosh, you guys. Yeah, no, there is no BBEG worse than scheduling. It just is the ultimate bad guy. So
Well, and it's been worse since you guys forced me to take a break. We haven't played anything since. We played like one fucking game.
We played runners, and then
true.
you lost the episode.
Sort of makes you want to treat me with more respect, doesn't it?
we're playing tomorrow. You guys are gonna be there.
That's right. Honey, let me see that again. No, I'm just kidding. It's on there for tomorrow.
Oh my god. My one shot every time.
26 years for real?
That's
real.
crazy.
That's
For real.
That's awesome.
Like
Hold-
that's
hold on.
incredible.
I've been through like how many
So
versions
we're
of it at a
verifying
time.
facts. Now we're verifying these facts.
Yeah, let's get that verified.
They're like,
That's
it was
impressive.
23. We're like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Now it's not impressive. It's
Oh
only-
no, it's been a year and a half.
The other game that I'm running right now, I started at the beginning of the pandemic, and my gaming group was like, let's play just some good old-fashioned D&D. We're just gonna like, you know, popcorn, pretzels, beer. We're just gonna hang out. It's gonna be a one shot.
Okay.
We're still
Ha-
playing.
How many
Oh,
how many years have you been playing with your group now?
30.
30.
Oh, even more.
Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
We-
very
weekly.
good.
How do you do it?
Beautiful.
Incredible.
AOL IM. And then
Oh,
yeah, and it started on AOL, and then it went to Instant Messenger, and then it went to ICQ, and then after ICQ, what did you do?
now we use roll one.
Huh?
Now we use roll one.
Oh, Roll20.
Oh,
Wow.
all right.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's
crazy.
impressive though. That's a string. Those groups fall apart.
Right.
30 years is like
Yeah.
Christ.
Usually the only people who play together that long and they're all incarcerated together.
They don't have a choice.
That's how you do it.
Colony?
Isn't anybody in here playing
Hey,
together than a thief?
wait. I've
Does
got an
everybody
idea,
play
everyone.
together?
It's so crazy, it might
Hold on.
work.
Wait, I like that. I think I know where you're going with this. I'm into it.
God. I mean,
All right.
in
First,
a
we all
way-
meet up. We have to meet up in the same city though, or else we're
Yeah.
gonna end up
Oh,
in
yeah.
prisons,
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
won't work.
Well, no,
That
that's
is
the whole,
true.
I was just thinking, this is a win-win. We rob a bank.
It's a heist.
Either we get out rich or get arrested and go to the same jail and have
Yeah.
a
Right?
permanent.
There's something
permanent
about, is there a
tabletop
Rico? There's like Rico? There's something about a Rico. I don't know.
How
I
it
remember
works, you
hearing
have to
that
come
in a
over
here.
movie.
Wait a minute, you
the
can
laws
write
are-
letters in prison, right? So we could do it by letter. We could do it by letter, right?
I like that. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
play by
no.
post.
Let's go old
Play by
school.
post. with letters.
Yes, exactly. The
No.
original
I'm
play by
sorry, but-
post,
No.
postman.
I have a better idea.
I
We
haven't
just
made
all
it through
need to
a forum game that lasted more than 2 weeks. Play by
That's
post is
terrible.
never gonna work.
It's a good
but
try. It's a value.
Leah's husband did it for 30, has been doing it work weekly for 30 years. We're slacking.
We just
You
need
guys
to
need
all
breaks.
retire to the same retirement home.
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
That
Oh, there we
is why I want to get some type of a charity set up where I can work with local nursing homes and get something,
Oh.
because as we age into relevance, in that charity's existence,
then we would
this
benefit.
is going to matter. We
That's
need
genius.
to build a future
That is
worth
very good.
living into.
I like it. I like where you're
That's
going.
Funding
we
your
gotta-
own
we gotta
hobby in
think
the
about-
future.
Yeah.
We got to think about like all stages
Yeah.
of our life.
I'm into it because like
Okay.
that was my favorite thing I saw recently was a meme that was like people that are like, now that I'm retired, I don't know what to do. And they were like me on day one of retirement, and they had like a Steam Deck. And I'm like, no shit. You gotta tell me I can play fucking RPGs all day. Yeah, sign me up. I'm waiting.
I'll have 3 podcasts then.
Yeah, how many podcasts I'll have when I'm fucking 75? Come on, I'll have like 8 podcasts. I have nothing else
God.
to do. It's great.
Oh.
Sounds
Yeah,
so
but naps will
awesome.
be really a lot more attractive when you're in your 70s.
That's a
so.
good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom.
You know, that's good. Yeah, that's it. The people like my wife's grandfather was retired for about a week, and then he ended up getting a new job. It's because he didn't have
Whoa.
hobbies.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
need the hobbies to fall back on, then they become your career after you
Yeah.
retire.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I think everyone in our demographic, like retirement is literally just gonna be like, first social security check, gaming desktop. And then like and then it's just gonna be like
PlayStation
drive through
12.
RPG, I'm gonna humble bundle the shit out of this. You get like $1 million. Oh god, I can't wait. My idea is actually
God.
my idea isn't retirement home, it's tiny house village of a bunch of
Ooh.
friends where you could like everyone could just have their own little tiny house.
Like,
How much
as
room do you
long-
need?
listen, my knees are not gonna make it as long as I don't have to go up steps.
Yeah, no stairs.
Yeah.
That's why you need a tiny house, because your
Needs a
kitchen
ramp
is
One
up to
level.
my tiny
that
house.
way,
In
your
the middle of
bedroom's 5
nowhere.
feet that way.
Yeah.
I just want the washer and dryer next to the kitchen. That's all I care about.
Oh, it'll be in
That's
the
all I need.
kitchen, John.
All you need is a trailer.
In
That's
the
a
kitchen.
trailer. I lived in that for many years.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, God.
Nothing.
No, yeah, it's
I prefer my washer and dryer in the basement.
Nobody stares.
I would love, trust me, I would love a basement.
Hey, I don't care.
Cannot
I
have
mean,
a
give me
basement.
one of those. Give me one of those little stair
Yes.
things.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Slow as you go. Yep.
Going
I
down
would
the
love one of those
stairs.
right now.
Oh,
Yep. Just going wee all the way down.
that's true.
Yeah.
If there was
At
one
a
of
whopping
those, yeah.
1.5 miles
Oh,
an
yeah.
hour.
Are you kidding me? Beer in hands. Just loving
Oh,
it.
always.
Just loving it. You kidding me? Yes.
You just put a slide on those steps, just
Yep.
slide down. You
Yeah.
don't have to
How
take
you
it.
getting back
No,
up?
no, no, no. You slide, then you
Do
break
know how
something.
many
And now we
knees
don't
I'm
need
gonna
that.
break on the as soon as I hit the ground.
You put
Yeah.
like a pillow or something down the
Yeah,
bottom.
get just like a
pillow.
mat,
Yeah, I weigh 250 pounds. A pillow is going to be
Like a-
great for the way down.
like a
Oh, like
trampoline or
up
something at
once
the
I'm laying
bottom.
on
You
the
just bounce off it.
Exactly.
Just
I
like
can't get off my
ball pit,
couch without
like
throwing out my
Ball
neck.
pit.
yeah. yeah.
I feel like
Dude, I threw my knee out. I literally almost dislocated my kneecap putting on a pair of shorts.
Yes.
Like
It's
2 months-
ridiculous.
like 2 months ago, and
Oh.
I heard it was the loudest pop any part of my body's ever made, and I saw it sliding and got the other foot down in time, and it slid back, and I literally just went, oh no, like, oh no,
That was almost it.
just stood there.
Oh no.
Almost
My kneecap.
ER.
And
didn't
Oscar
like
and I are the oldest ones here.
We're the ones not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm a guy.
That's
who's
because-
not, I have not walked in 3 months, but
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's because
Okay.
you're built differently. I'm very
Gen
brittle.
Xers, you're brought up not to complain.
Exactly.
oh yeah.
We're old and full of spite and all bitter
Yeah.
and black-hearted.
My dad is 20 years older than me and is very much in better shape than I am.
Because
Wow.
he had to be.
Exactly.
How else could you?
Oh
walk
my God,
uphill
Dad,
to
are you
school?
here?
Uphill both ways to school every single day
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
Exactly.
snow.
We had no legs. We were up
and
and
they
down
built
hills.
the internet on the back of our generation. So shut up.
Right.
We were too busy
Jesus.
doing this in front of a computer.
Oh, burn it all.
Do you know how jacked my shoulders are though from having to support my elbows?
Oh,
Oh man.
Oh man. No, Leslie, I'm just gonna tie this back around. With your comment on the internet, John H. The first interview that I did, episode 36, with the gentleman that did the Dino Eggs video game. Yeah, he did all of the architecture of the phone modems calling into AOL.
Wow.
What?
Cool.
Yeah.
An interview. It's been so long, I don't remember.
Yeah, I did interview that guy.
You mean the guy that made the thing that made the noise and went?
Yeah, no,
That
he
guy?
didn't make those.
Did you flip him off for me? Because I mean, that was the worst sound in the world.
No, he made a video game for the ColecoVision, and it
Nice.
re-released on through an emulator on modern systems, and so he agreed. For some reason, I was on a publicist's email, and I got access to a promo copy of this game, and I'm like, well, this seems interesting. Can I interview the ColecoVision developer? and they were like, yeah. And so they hooked me up with this gentleman, and so that was my first interview for Legends of Tabletop, and I was so freaking nervous, and I'm still freaking nervous every time that I do an interview with someone that I've never met before, because you just never know.
Yeah.
You never know what you're coming up against.
See, I don't mind. I don't know. The most nervous I was oh crap, what's his name? Whalen. No,
Casey, not Casey Whalen.
Casey Whalen, yeah. From We're Alive.
Yeah, we had him on.
Like that was like the one where I was like, this is like a real guy. Not that will I want to walk that
real
back
guy.
Wait a minute.
I'm gonna walk that back a little bit. I did interview Cliff. You can look up his name. The creator of Zombies Run was interviewed on Nerdbound, and that was fucking incredible. And he's also like a real professional who made a thing that's like incredible. So, but like Casey Whalen is also like, this is like a podcast that was like one of my favorite.
Huge. They're like 150 million downloads.
Oh yeah, like a real like holy shit! I'm talking to like the biggest celebrity I'll ever talk to ever.
And he was super nice.
He was the nicest guy in the entire world.
He talked to us for like 2 hours.
I know. I thought there's no way. I was like at 45 minutes. We were like, I think you were like, okay, we don't want to like take too much of your time. He's like, no, I can stay. And we just bullshitted with this guy who's made literally to this day the best produced, absolutely perfect audio podcast. And granted, I guess I don't listen to a lot of the I guess some famous people right have had limited series podcasts or whatever. I have not listened to those on like Spotify exclusives, but like We're Alive is one of the greatest zombie properties that I still think is people don't know about it, but it's way better than the Walking Dead television show. I don't even care about that. I'll 100% just go listen to We're Alive and you'll be like, wow, The Walking Dead made wrong choices. This is way better. And yeah, he was like the coolest guy. That I was like, I hope I don't come across like a moron to this guy. Like, I love your work and you're letting us talk to you? We're just like some randos.
And you know what? Never turned into anything. Never turned into more viewers.
Really?
Like even if he was like, hey, I'm gonna post it on my forum, like we'll promote it, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, had like 50 plays on it. And then the other one that I was able to do with you was Mark Singer from Archive 81, because you were super into that one.
That was fucking great.
And he was a weird fucking dude too.
I am gonna say Archive 81 really went wild in the second season.
I stopped listening to it. I listened to about half of it.
I have to say the first season.
Third season kind of came back.
Oh, did it?
Did it?
Oh,
third
shit.
season
I didn't
pulled it
listen
together.
To
it got really weird, and I was like, I can't.
And there's a 2-part. I think there's a 3-part special episode that's a road trip episode that's great. There's a 2-part episode called like Wing Beats Across America that is absolutely perfect.
Oh, shit,
So
I gotta
if
go
you
back
gave
then.
season two, yes, it dipped and it
I'm
got
not
really
saying
weird.
I didn't want
But
to say
it
like
comes back.
it was just
strong.
not my jam. Like it was interesting. I 100% admit I listened to it and was like, it's just not what the first season was. So it was like a real 180 to me. And then third season, I was just kind of out of it and didn't listen. But shit, I gotta go back. If it's that good, I gotta go back because the first season like had me hooked.
The special 2-parter and then the 3-parter that closes out.
I mean, that's
are
incredible.
really, really
that
good.
sounds so good. Okay, I'll go back to season 3.
It's the 3-part is basically they're conducting a ritual that requires them to be in a car with the radio on, with snacks in the car, and to drive along this endless highway.
What?
And that's the trigger for the ritual. It's like they're driving in this car on a road trip through like the dreamlands, and the radio is just fucking bonkers.
No, really?
With like the kind of like the longer you listen to it, the more crazy you get, and then they start running into like roadside attractions and weird fucking diners.
What?
So it's like
yes,
Twilight Zone road trip on acid.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the 2 people on the road trip are a sorcerer and a guy made out of living static.
What? What's happening?
I'm not going to explain it.
Okay.
I didn't come up with this. I just
I'm gonna say
it for the bonkers
I'm
enjoyment.
Down. I'm down for this because season 2 got a little wacky and it just didn't catch me for season 3. But now I got to go back because that sounds incredible. A road trip between like a sorcerer and a static man.
Wait a minute.
And by the way, his name is
That's...
Static Man. By the way,
wait, his name is.
His name's it's Static Man.
Now what you're telling me is I could write really great things that get picked up by Netflix.
You got enough acid, sure.
I feel bad.
Have enough acid.
I was real sad that it got canceled for the second season on Netflix because I actually thought
it gets better.
I thought the first season kind of did a pretty good job, and I was I thought the second season was going to knock it out of the park because I didn't think they were going to go totally as crazy as the actual second, but I really thought it was going to go strong.
Okay, the 2 things you're looking for are the Golden Age, part 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then Left of the Dial, 1, 2, and 3.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna find those right now.
Now, unless you listen to all of season 3, you're not going to get a lot of the stuff that's going on the road trip, but you can listen to the road trip.
I'm gonna just listen to the season 3.
Golden Age, those 2 episodes are completely standalone. They're not.
Really? Oh,
you can listen to that and really appreciate it.
Oh, amazing. I'm into it. Well, someone else is going to have to talk to fill this empty air, guys. I'm searching in Apple Podcasts.
If we want to pull it back around, we can say that we've been played, as far as what SoundCloud tells me, in 50 different countries.
I can't even name 50 different countries.
Well, right. So most of it's, the majority of it's US, Canada, UK, Australia, right? But then we also have like Belgium. Right. Belgium, Austria.
Is there anything that ends in a stan? Like Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan and
no, Ukraine, my people in
there are women
here and Poland, then Vanuatu, Cambodia, Vietnam.
Whoa. We have plays in Vanuatu?
Yeah. Not a lot.
We're real big there.
I want a shirt that says that. We're big in
we're big in Vanuatu.
Whatever you just said.
And also Iran, believe it or not.
We have plays in Vanuatu. Yep.
Yeah, my brother was like obsessed with that island. It has like it's a tribal, it's like a South Pacific. It's in the South Pacific. It's near New Zealand where he lives. And I think he went there and like stayed in like the chieftain of some village that they went to like it was like invited. I mean, they're all very welcoming to like visitors. That's kind of the thing for that tribe. They kind of do that. But like an actual tribe runs the island.
John,
like,
you could be a god on that island.
It was like crazy. And I was like, yeah, you could go there. If someone listens, they'll be like, wait, you're the guy from the internet?
Oh no.
You can take whatever you want.
No.
You are our chief now.
Island famous on this one little island.
I can't remember I don't think they're cannibals, but I think they used to be, and now it's like, you're not allowed to be. So they're like,
well, they listen to podcasts now, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone like.
Well, I guess maybe we shouldn't eat that guy. He might be entertaining someday.
They'd be like, this guy's got listeners. We got to get our
followers.
We have stories to tell in some RPGs. Break out the dice, buddy. Sit down.
All right, John.
Dozens of
how many listeners do we have in Vanuatu?
It was like 26 plays or something like that.
All right. They only have a population under 336,000. So if you if you spend a couple of months there, chances are you're going to run into the person that listened.
Oh yeah, that percentage. That's a good percentage. We got a shot.
Right?
We can meet this person.
Yeah. Just constantly walk around with a Legends of Tabletop t-shirt on.
Yep.
It's bound to happen.
Who's going to set the GoFundMe up so we can send them over?
That could be the colony we all retire to.
Right, Leslie, what do you think? We go to Vanuatu instead?
No.
Depends. What's the climate? I'll do some research.
How humid is
Listen,
it?
I've got a soccer game to go to for my son tomorrow. We have practice on Mondays and Thursdays. I mean,
we're talking about like 20 years from now. Don't
What are
worry.
their thoughts on Tepe fermentation? Sorry,
yeah.
but that's a peek into my nerdly existence here.
But no, Oscar, you have actually given me some nerd cred.
Really?
So,
How so?
Well, so I, anytime you go into like a new game store, right? Like everybody there wants to check your card. And they always want to know like what games you play. Like it's never enough to just play D&D. You have to play other things. Nowadays, right?
So everybody's sniffing everybody else's butt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so they ask you all like what kind of games, and I say, and when I start listing off all the games I'm currently in, and I was actually in a new game store that opened up about a year ago, a couple of towns over, and so they're going through the process of asking me what I play and everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually in a game right now called Cthulhu Invictus. And I was like, I'm lucky enough that it's actually being run by the guy who wrote it. And the owner actually went over to the shelf and pulled your book off to double check the name that I gave him.
Nice.
And he was like, holy shit.
It's crazy what having a podcast will do, right?
Right?
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Like my daughter got in trouble once when she was in like the 5th grade for saying that my daddy's an author.
What?
And they thought
People
she,
are like, no,
and they thought
no.
she was lying. And the
my
teacher fucking
God.
said, you shouldn't make up shit like that.
Oh,
And I fucking
Wow.
sent her to school the next day with like,
You're like, here's 20 books.
two or
Yeah,
three,
15
a
books.
couple of books I wrote, 2 or 3 others I have short stories in. I'm like,
Filled her backpack.
tell your teacher to go eat shit, you know.
No shit. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened.
It's not like she said I was an astronaut or a fucking brain surgeon, you know.
Yeah.
Or the president.
Yeah,
Right.
like those they were like, we believe that author too hard. Not
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
Really?
insulting because you're like,
need
motherfucker,
proof.
this is hardback. Get at it. That's the real shit.
Well, I mean, Oscar's not wrong. You've probably, I mean, so we've done 27 Invictus episodes
Oh, Jesus Christ.
with the current group and with the
And
other, because
Not
Chad
even the
played with us for a
1920.
bit.
That's not even the 1920 stuff we do.
No, that's just Invictus. Yeah. And then you've probably been on to be interviewed 5, 6, 7 times, and then you've been on for a couple other things because we did like a round table about like RPG design that you were on with Ken Hite. Jesse was on with that one. So you've been
my
on
only 2 non-actual plays were that round table and interviewing Oscar. So
and like we in the beginning we had everywhere. Shane Ivey, Ken Hite, we've had Oscar, we had Glancy, we've had Shane Hensley on, Jim Pinto's been on, like just like the who's who of RPG designers, board game designers and stuff. Seth Jaffe's been on, and
I had Greg Loudon on once. Creative director for several movies.
Yeah,
Sucker Punch, and I believe
nice.
Yeah. I didn't know it at the time. That's the funniest thing. I was just interviewing him about this like B-list video game that was funded by the It's like, oh, you produced this video game. Oh, it was cute. And it's like, oh yes, that one time I was the creative director for Sucker Punch, and it's like, oh crap.
I mean, I'll give him credit.
There's
some issues with Sucker Punch with overall, like it's a little zany, but creative director, that movie was gorgeous.
It was visual candy.
It was. I think that was my problem. It's like, it's so gorgeous. I just wish there was a little more like tying it together maybe. But it was one of the most it was like the most gorgeous like in the theater. I was like, what? Like Zack Snyder can just like fucking direct, like just makes shit look the coolest it could possibly look. That's what he does. So, he's great at it.
And Leah's had a bunch of authors on. We've had Paul Tremblay on, Douglas Wynn, Ellen Datlow's been on, Laird Barron.
Talk about imposter syndrome kicking in hard with them.
It's run the gamut. It's been a pretty crazy journey, but having the podcast facilitates all that, right? Because like, truth be told, Oscar, if it wasn't for the podcast, you and I wouldn't be sitting here right now, probably, right? I mean, it's well,
no, I'd be in bed.
Right, but like so
right now I'd be asleep by now.
Like at Necronomicon, right? Like so Girl in the Pines was the first game that we played together in Meat Space.
Yeah,
because
that was fucking crazy.
Right. And it was awesome. And I'll probably do it again next year. But like I can just message you and be like, hey, should we play something? And we can play something because we're friends, because the podcast facilitated that in the beginning. Where like I could, probably get a hold of Clancy or whatever and be like, hey, it's been forever. We should fucking do something.
Do something with Clancy. I want to get day drunk with Clancy again. Let's do it. Let's do it. I will do it all day.
Goals.
But it's the
hashtag
podcast.
Necronomicon 2024.
There you go.
There's a lot of day drinking and night drinking.
Yes.
Well, speaking of soccer mom duties.
Yes.
Were we?
Alas, Oscar.
The culling begins.
Yes. So before I hop off, I just wanted to say thank you and how much I've appreciated doing this. I'm really glad that you slid into my DMs.
Well, Leslie, I hope Call of Cthulhu isn't one of your banned game lists, because I'd love to get you into one of our games when I'm back up and running.
Oh, absolutely. Do I have a banned game list? I don't have a banned game list. No, I love all the games, all of them.
Only banned people.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, yes. But thank you so much. I love you guys. You're wonderful. This is such a great group of people, and I've been really fortunate to get to know some of you, and hopefully I'll get to know the rest of you more as we kind of continue on with all these
For
things.
the next 200 episodes.
Yeah.
We'll be
14
podcasting for at
years.
least that long.
Yes. We're gonna have a one shot that lasts 14 years. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna head out.
All right, thank you. Love you too.
Peace.
Thank you.
Committee
for-
person or
Playing
in
with us and hanging
video
out.
person.
All right. I guess we have been on for like a long friggin' time. I know Kurt said he wanted to cut out early, and he is controlling us. He controls the horizontal and the vertical, as they used to say.
Okay. So
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like we probably kicked this pig to death. And I couldn't have done any of this without all of you. I mean, quite honestly, that's just the
You
fact.
could have. It would just
It
be
would have just
boring.
been sad.
taking a lot longer.
Boring and sad.
Yeah.
We'd be celebrating 150th episode.
I don't know about that.
I can say, as a Catholic school kid who was never allowed to play in school because it was Catholic school, and the only time I could do RPGs was when I was in my late 30s and early 40s. I have to thank all of you because it was all pent up for all those years that now I can actually do it. So.
Exploding out in the Legends of Tabletop podcast feed.
It's fortuitous circumstances that brought us all together, and I am so humbled and fortunate that I can call all of you guys friends. And I wish Leslie was still on here, but I love all of you, and I thank you for being on this journey, and just your friendship and everything else, because this has been a wonderful, however long it's been, 8 years or whatever the hell. This, especially as this all came post divorce, so which was a good thing, but also all of you were there for that, to kind of be there. So whatever.
As it turns out, we are the legends of the tabletop.
He
said the thing.
Are the friends you make along the way.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
You know what? I really fucked that up because John, edit this to this punchline. The
We are live.
tabletops are the friends you make along the way. That's the funnier one because it doesn't make any sense.
Yes,
Anyway,
right.
damn it, I fucked it up. Cut it, John.
Friendship is
Re-roll it.
legendary.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, we got the title.
Well, before I sign off, I just want to state that I do need to get more active in the tabletop aspect of the legends. So if you all wouldn't mind me joining in for a game or two, I greatly appreciate it. All right.
We can
have
I wanna
always, we
start
can
off
always
the
use
second one.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of
Heck yeah.
Deadlands opportunity. We have lots of Deadlands opportunity.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
You can always
If you
jump
had
in
to
for,
pick
you know.
between ancient Rome or the 1920s, where would you want to be? Where would you want to fight imminent cosmic horror?
Well, it's like,
Imminent death and
Oh,
cosmic
man.
horror.
which one do you want to go insane and probably die in?
I've done 20s many times. Let's try Invictus.
Easily done.
All right.
Well, once I'm able.
Okay.
I'm still in a reconstruction phase.
You're like the turnpike in Jersey right now.
I'm feeling like it.
Oh no.
It's the Boston Big Dig.
Oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I've got
Yeah.
Stronger, faster, better.
Oh
All
no,
the-
no, none of those things. None of those things.
Kind
Um,
and gentle healing to you, sir.
Yes.
I'm just glad to have beaten the staph infection
Yes.
because that shit'll kill you. So
That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
massive.
Right.
I'm
And-
glad that you did.
now they'll go in and actually give me a new hip. Because I don't have one now. It's really weird. The leg is just kind of there.
Just there.
It's not connected by any
What?
means.
Wait. Oh my God! Really?
Hipless.
Do
That
you have like a
sounds
brace or
crazy.
something?
It's called a girdle stone procedure. They just kind of move the bone up higher on the pelvis because the staph
Wow.
infection just kind of completely ravaged
Yeah.
all of the already really shitty bone.
Shit.
So the top of the femur and all of the hip joint are just,
Wow.
gone.
Mm.
So
Whoa.
right now they just have the leg kind of hanging with like flesh and tendon.
God, I bet you've got some wonderful descriptors for your players
Oh yeah.
in game times to come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next time I have to describe someone with 0 hit points, I know exactly.
Oh,
Oh.
I had a
If-
bad pressure drop, and I was circling the
Whoa.
drain in recovery from one of the surgeries, and it was the second time in my life it ever happened. And I literally told the nurse, "I think I'm about to crash."
No.
Mm.
What?
Because I recognized the physical symptoms of your blood pressure,
Whoa.
lawn darting.
Shit.
So if I ever
man.
tell any of your characters that you start to feel cold sweat coming down off your scalp
Oh no.
and a general sense of detachment, that means you're at
blackness
negative
starts to
1 hit
seep in.
points.
Whoa.
Oh.
Hey, listen,
yeah.
if I was ever to be convinced of how well you described situations, put away childish things, the skeletons in the polio hospital.
Oh my god.
The first time I ever got the icky wikis during a game, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna get into it. That was very personal. I had a lot of time in hospitals as a young child with orthopedic issues. So this is kind of how I started my life. I'm just going through it all over again in my 50s.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully
Well-
a staph infection is no good, and that sounded like a really, really bad one.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
God.
Terrible.
Yeah. So thank
Yeah.
God or thank Cthulhu or whoever is out
Thank
there.
Cthulhu.
You know.
No, I mean, it certainly gives you perspective, and it makes you grateful for all of the people around you who support you. And, that's why I hobbled up a flight of stairs and wrestled with computer updates for 20 minutes because I was not going to miss this. I was going to be a part of this because, this channel means a lot to me, and it's not the channel, it's the people. So.
Hard hands.
Red button. Yeah.
Thank you, John, for letting me come back and ruin your feed with more insanity that I'm usually winging from, completely. I gun from the hip on most of these games. So, well, you guys also make choices sometimes I did not predict. So anyway, but yeah, thanks for letting me come back and including me. I've appreciated all of your company and creativity in all of the games and conversations. So I am super stoked to keep the Deadlands game going. I promise it will happen, and cool stuff will come out of that as well.
You got to read. You got to listen to the Golden Age Part 1 and 2, and then
I'm on that as well.
and then we'll do a whole interview on it.
Oh, there you go.
Just
A
nerd
review.
out on it.
We'll do a review.
Trust me.
Oh, I'm so stoked. If it's that, I'm so excited because I've been a little flat on some of my horror podcasts. I've just been like meh. So I'm really stoked.
Have you given Old Gods of Appalachia a try?
Yes, it's in my backlog. I listened to the first 3, the one with the whole first arc with the witch,
Okay.
and was like, this is one of the greatest
You're not even up to the
mythos,
good
and I'm
parts
not
yet.
even to the great stuff. Yeah, everyone's told me
Because
it's so
it gets
good.
so much better every season. They're really,
Oh, really? Okay.
they're really hitting a great stride. So
I mean, I'm from West Virginia, so it's like when they're describing the like country stuff, I'm like, yeah, I know. I've driven by those. I know where that's out from where I lived. So yeah, awesome. That one I might escalate just because like all my little short horror nothing that's like a narrative have just been kind of like meh. So I'll dig into those.
Well, I was just gonna say, like John, life shit happens, and we always wanted you to come back, but with everything that's going on, right? You don't want to be like, hey, so
Yeah,
when are you coming back? Like,
Yeah.
Like nothing is happening, right? So like, it happens to work out that you're able to do it, and we're happy. I'm happy for sure that you're here, right? Because like we didn't get the chance to hang out all that much, right? And it's just it's different, like, hey, what's up? How's everything going? Like text back and forth, and like that's cool, but it's also it's not this, right? Like it's not, and the podcast is facilitating everything at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's a good, it's another, it's one of those, like, if I'm too lazy, I'll just be like, screw it. I'll just doom scroll and have fucking great British baking show on the background. And that's Friday instead of like doing something that, takes 3 hours. And I was like, that was so fun. Instead, I'm just like, well, I've spent 6 hours doing trash that doesn't help my mind at all. So yeah, it's great to get to hang out again, and it's a reason for me to be like, nope, I said we're gonna do this thing, and we're gonna do this thing. So that helps me stick to it.
And it's a full circle thing, right? I mean, again, this started with Nerdbound, and to have you be able to come back and run games again brings us all the way back around to the thing.
Plus, then I can at least pseudo experience the games that I want to play that no one ever runs. That's all I ever do is like, I really wanted to play this, but no one will ever run it. I'll run it, and then I'm at least the NPCs. So, get a chance.
All right, good night, Leah. Thank you. We'll see you.
No, so that's what you do is you run a game, you get a bunch of people interested in the hopes that one of them will then be interested enough that they'll want to run the game, and then you can be a player in it.
Yeah.
That's so we got Kurt to run Noir.
Right. So there you go.
Works every time.
Which has been fantastic, by the way. Kurt pulled off some shit in the 4th season that he set the seeds for in the 1st season.
Wow.
I had no fucking clue until it happened. And then was just like, what?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's the best feeling. And like you talked about, like you being on this show and stuff like that is kind of, I've listened to some of the writers and stuff like that, like Oscar and all the other creators and stuff like that. And you take these little tidbits and you're like, okay, well, I'll take this and I'll do that. And you watch certain shows and you're like, I'll do this, and then when you write it, it's like, I don't know how some people running games don't want to be like, this is what's going to happen. Because literally the character that he ended up figuring out in this 4th season or whatever has been there for a very long time and kind of around. And like, you could probably figure it out, but you'd really have to focus on it. So when it happens and then he's like, what? It was just like, okay, like that's the feeling you want when someone is just like bombarded with feelings that you're like, yes, I've got you.
That was the post show. You son of a bitch. What?
The sad thing is I've had those moments, but almost all of them have been like, oh man, people think I did that. Like, man, he set that up like 2 campaigns, like 2 whole story arcs ago. And I'm like,
oh no, I set it up 20 minutes ago.
Well, no, I'll be like, I thought of that in the shower this morning. But it happens to fit all of the shit I said. So it seems brilliant. But I'm just putting the clues together.
It is brilliant. You had the thought and you put it in. It is brilliant.
And so, that's where I would love to say I've ever done like a super setup like that, where like someone has been known to be, a bad guy or on the bad guy side. And I purposely set it up like years in advance. I'm like, no, that guy, he did seem shady and someone was suspicious of him when I first introduced him. Yeah, he's a great fit. He's now working, it's slightly less, gratifying.
But awesome that you're able to pivot, which is the skill that you guys all have for running games, just to be able to pivot on that moment, take the things that are coming out and throw them back.
Yeah,
it makes it so easy as a player to to have you guys be able to do that and just react and key off of that stuff.
And you too will find that skill, John, and then you will be comfortable being a GM.
You'll be the legend of GMing. Work, I don't.
All right, I see Oscar wincing. We should probably wrap this up.
It's just tough, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you then. All right. Well, again.
Well, I want to hold you.
Biggest hug at Necronomicon. All right. Well, thanks to you guys for all of this. Thanks to everybody that listens. Appreciate the fact that anybody gives a shit at all and downloads this and listens and streams and whatever. We thank you for that. If you're so inclined, there's Patreon that's available. You could throw money at Todd. You could throw money at Bridget Jeffries. I'm repping the Symphony Entertainment shirt tonight. Bridget's awesome. She's going through a bit of a rough patch right now. Support cool people that do cool stuff, and it doesn't have to be us because we're going to record for Spite anyway, just if for no other reason than we can hang out.
Support Oscar!
Yeah. Throw money over
emotionally, just emotionally. Send me good vibes. I need all the good vibes I can get for the next 3 months.
Yep. And that's it. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.